Some places have a confusing backstory, while others don't have much of a story at all. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 places where people are afraid to go. 25. Taklamakan Desert. The Taklamakan Desert in northwest China is the second largest desert on planet Earth. Historically, it's been pretty inaccessible to humans, and even today, it's regarded as a remote location where people can't go. The place is actually referred to as the Sea of Death. Its shifting sands and wild weather conditions make it a no-go for tourists and travelers. 24. Muchu Chhish. This impressive mountain range in northern Pakistan is over 24,000 feet high. It's been described as the highest unclimbed hill on Earth, though a Czech team finally managed to get up there in 2024. Muchu Chhish remained human-free for all that time, though, which I guess is a good thing. 23. Northern Forest Complex. When I say that this huge forest complex in Myanmar is untouched by humans, I'm not actually telling the truth. Indigenous peoples who live off the land know it well. However, the rest of us wouldn't survive 5 minutes there. Covering an epic distance of 12,000 square miles, the Northern Forest Complex is often hit by monsoon rains and features approximately 1,500 species that are probably unique to the area. 22. Namib Desert. The Namib Desert on the coast of, Namibia, is virtually impossible to live in. Unless you have survival training or are accustomed to the harsh conditions, you wouldn't want to stay there permanently. This part of the world is seriously dry, thanks in part to the famous Kalahari Desert, which lies to the east of the Namib. It's believed the area has been a desert for anywhere between 55 and 80 million years. For the vast majority of that time, it was inhospitable to tourists. You can say that people have set foot there, but the desert is far from habitable for modern humans. 21. Gangkhar Puensum. An interesting thing about the Gangkhar Puensum mountain, which is part of the eastern Himalayas in the landlocked kingdom of Bhutan, is that you couldn't climb it even if you wanted to. No one from the outside can set foot on the mountain by law. This rule has been enforced since 2004, and the decision was made so the government could preserve what's viewed as a sacred site by the population there. 20. Karjiang I. The Karjiang I mountain in the Himalayas is part of the Tibet Autonomous Region. While Tibet is autonomous, the Chinese see it as a sovereign part of China. So the exact location of Karjiang I is controversial before we even start looking at it as an inhospitable place. Another name for it is Karjiang South, and it's the biggest of the peaks in the group, which is also called Karjiang. At an elevation of over 7,000 meters, it's ranked among the highest unclimbed mountains on the planet, though it hasn't stopped people from trying. 19. Tsingy Bemaraha National Park. This huge park in northwest Madagascar is high in biodiversity, which means it's heavily protected against human interference. Aside from the security measures, the actual landscape of the park is enough to deter intruders. In fact, part of the name, Tsingy, refers to limestone points that sound like they could cut you if you took a wrong step. The word translates as where one cannot walk barefoot. 18. North Sentinel Island. It may surprise you to learn that there are people on the isolated North Sentinel Island in the Bay of Bengal. The island is part of an archipelago, or group of islands, called Andaman. So, who lives there? The Sentinelese people are a largely uncontacted and indigenous population who occupy North Sentinel Island. From this, we can conclude that, humans have set foot there, right? Well, yes and no. The Sentinelese people like it, but they are fiercely protective of their part of the world, which measures approximately 23 square miles. So you can try to access that island at your own peril. Plus, the authorities keep people away because outsiders may pass on diseases to the Sentinelese. 17. Doong Cave. If you want a guided tour of Doong Cave, which is situated near the Laos border in Quang Binh Province, Vietnam, you'll have to be patient. Because of the cave's special status as part of the Phong Nha Ke Bang National Park, the access granted to visitors is limited. The area is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and, I'm not surprised due to the fact that Doong is the planet's largest natural cave. 16. The Star Mountains. This mountain range in Papua New Guinea is only recommended for very experienced climbers. Despite being an ancient-looking feature of the landscape, the first crossing in the mountain range didn't happen until 1965. The treacherous terrain is not for the faint of heart, and, well, sounds bad enough. However, the explorers of the time also described seeing giant rats and spiders, which is enough to deter anyone from attempting to climb these mountains. Now, are there any places on Earth you wouldn't want to go? Let me know in the comments below. 15. Kamchatka. When we think of Russia, we don't naturally think of volcanoes. The land there is usually cold and unforgiving, so a hot volcano below the surface just doesn't sound right. Of course, our planet is a very surprising place, so there are volcanoes in Russia after all. For example, you'll find over 300 in the area of Kamchatka, to the far east. This isn't somewhere you can take a stroll. It has volcanoes, plus brutal weather conditions, not to mention bears that might turn you into a meal. And because you're so far out there, it's unlikely anyone will rescue from that grisly fate. 14. Northern Patagonia. Visiting northern Patagonia in Chile will often involve climbing aboard a plane, and chances are, it's not going to be a smooth ride. Another option is going by boat, though that could be even worse if the conditions are wrong. Either way, you're looking at a truly remote part of the world with little by way of roads and infrastructure. The people who live there are called pehuenches, or people of the pinyon. And pinyon is a word connected to pine trees and their seeds. 13. Mount Namuli. Mozambique has a mountain named Namuli, which translates into English as a reed flower. However, unlike a flower, this natural feature won't wilt. At an elevation of 2,419 meters, it's Mozambique's second tallest mountain. People have tried to climb it, however, this is not a friendly place for humans. Though that does have an upside, because the mountain has strong biodiversity credentials thanks to the lack of contact from the outside. 12. Devon Island. Strange though it may seem, there are parts of Canada that are so tough to live in that you won't find humans there. Devon Island is seriously cold, as it should be, due to the fact that it's part of the Arctic archipelago. It covers an area of over 21,000 square miles, and the island was actually populated at one point. The Inuit people were there until the 30s, and it was pretty much empty a couple of decades later following their departure. 11. Pluragrotta Cave. Found in the Rana municipality of Norway, this cave is the deepest in northern Europe. With that title comes danger, as people who have tried to explore it have discovered. In order to access the cave, you need to be an experienced diver, and even then, you can find yourself in trouble. Sometimes the consequences can be fatal. Divers have lost their lives after venturing into the murky depths. 10. Vale do Javari. We already know that the Brazilian rainforest is a tough place to live if you aren't prepared. In 2022, it was reported that a journalist and an expert in indigenous affairs went missing at Vale do Javari. It turned out that Dom Phillips and Bruno Pereira had died, though the threat didn't come from local wildlife or the inhospitable environment. The men were allegedly targeted by killers who objected to their investigations. They had been looking into criminal behavior by vested interests in the rainforest. This story shows how remote locations can be dangerous to humans for surprising reasons. 9. Sakha Republic. Russia is extremely large, but did you know that much of it is uninhabited? This is because of the tough environment, of which the Sakha Republic is definitely a part of. The freezing conditions that are typical of Russia mean that while the Sakha Republic is mind-bogglingly big, covering over 3 million square kilometers, it isn't somewhere people want to live. And, well, can you blame them? 8. Yucatan Cenotes. In the past, the Mayan people accessed caves containing water for refreshment and to support their way of life. These caves, called cenotes, still exist. The ones at Yucatan in Mexico are regarded as a remote and fascinating location, giving people a glimpse of the country's ancient past, whilst also providing interesting areas to explore. Unfortunately, the cenotes aren't very accessible, being potentially hazardous sinkholes, so they're pretty dangerous for us humans. 7. Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench can go down as deep as 10,000 meters, making it a tantalizing yet hard to reach part of the world. Things become even more complicated because of what you have to go through in order to explore these ancient and remote places. To survive down there takes extreme levels of endurance and persistence. I mean, we didn't even know about the Mariana Trench until the late 19th century, and it's had a hold on us ever since. Despite it being super deep, humans have made an impact on it in terms of pollution. Plastic waste, such as candy wrappers, were spotted down there back in 2019. 6. Surtsey Island. The Icelandic island of Surtsey is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and you could describe it as a new island. Well, at least new in relation to the age of our planet, having formed from volcanic activity during the 60s. One of the most fascinating things about Surtsey is how life has begun finding a way on the island. This led to a wild story where someone discovered a tomato plant that had been growing out of, wait for it, human feces. 5. Mabu. In today's day and age, we rely on technology to show us what's out there. Websites like Google Earth and general satellite images are giving us views of the planet we've never seen before. In 2004, Mabu was spotted by Professor Julian Bayliss. He wasn't out in the jungle like Indiana Jones. He was studying the area on a screen. This resulted in the identification of what's been described as a sky island, or a rainforest that provides a new look at the life forms our planet can keep hidden. It seems that we're only just scratching the surface of this intriguing location. 4. Fiordland National Park. This park is the largest of its kind in New Zealand, spanning an incredible 4,868 square miles. Talk about a lot of ground to cover. It's so epic that they named the place after the awesome geographical feature called fjords. These are deep-sea inlets like lakes or rivers with steep cliffs on either side. Fiordland is a fantastical place, which is no doubt why it was chosen as a location for the Lord of the Rings trilogy. 3. Northeast Greenland National Park. Some parts of the world blow your mind with their sheer size. The Northeast Greenland National Park is reportedly so large that you could fit approximately 85% of the world's countries within its borders. If that wasn't surprising enough, then how about the fact that it doesn't have anyone living there? Yes, Greenland is of course inhabited, but this area of it most definitely isn't. 2. New Hebrides Trench. The bigger they are, the more mysterious they can be. A key example of this is the New Hebrides Trench, which is found 25,000 feet below the surface of the southern Pacific. Running for a length of 750 miles, it's only just begun to be explored by experts. And if you did want to go down there, you might want to reconsider, especially if you don't like eels. The trench is host to what are called gray cusk eels, some of which can grow up to a meter long. 1. Hranice Abyss. The deepest freshwater cave in the world can be seen in the area of Hranice in the Czech Republic. Known as the Hranice Abyss, it was first discovered in the 1960s, where the recorded depth went from a level of a few meters to over 3,000 feet 6 decades on. Divers and ROVs, or remotely operated vehicles, have been down there. However, the abyss is still largely undisturbed by human hands. So, if you've enjoyed these cool and scary facts about planet Earth, then my question should make a nice brain teaser for you. Which of these facts about America are true? A. Half of it belongs in Sweden. B. Tombstone had better gun controls in place during the gunfight at the OK Corral than it does now. C. The first Ronald McDonald was played by Humphrey Bogart. Or D. Christopher Columbus was the first person to discover America. Let me know your answers in the comments below, and as always, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell so you don't miss out on any new content, and I will catch you guys next time. My chair is still in my way. New studio. Working on it. Okay. Bye, guys. I'm gonna go this way, which is weird. I never do that.